Welcome everyone. In this video I'm going to explain the posture that we use for meditation, and I will go through the different points that we observe in the Buddhist tradition for the posture and how to adopt them and to actually accomplish a posture which is conducive for meditation. However, I will explain not only the ideal posture but also several other ways that you can play around with certain points so that you're not in pain or uncomfortable while adopting the posture. So the first point of the posture refers to the legs, and in this particular point what we are trying to accomplish is stability, to be grounded and stable in our sitting position. So traditionally the posture which is the most conducive to be stable and really grounded is to have your legs in full lotus posture, which is not something simple to do if you don't have the necessary flexibility or external rotation of your hips. So therefore, if you cannot sit on full lotus, and I would not recommend you try it if you're not habituated already to this posture, then you can choose to just go onto half lotus, which is just having one leg on top of the other thigh. Or finally, if you cannot sit on half lotus at all, you can just try to do it cross-legged. And even if this feels uncomfortable, you can try what is called the Burmese pose, where we put one leg in front of the other, and there's not even any pressure between the legs happening. And basically, you can choose the right in front of the left or the left in front of the right. And basically it's very comfortable and very conducive because you're not actually exerting any pressure on the legs. So it's really beneficial to also try this posture. However, I would say if your knees are high up in the air, if you don't have enough flexibility, perhaps you may be like this, it's good to tuck in something underneath. You can use a shawl, a towel, a sock which is folded, and just give your knees a little bit of support so that you're not actually exerting any more pressure on your legs, especially the lower part. And you can also try to find which points of your body are definitely in need of more contact. The point is to be as much as possible grounded on the floor, so that there's as many points of contact as you possibly can. And this also creates a triangle between your two knees and your buttocks. And this allows you, to have this shape which is quite geometrically is very solid. And that gives you, that stability which we need for the meditation. So the next point refers to the hands, and traditionally in Buddhism what we do is we use the left hand underneath, the right hand on top, and we gently touch the tips of the thumbs to close the energy cycle, and place this gesture on 2 inches below the navel, and basically let it rest on your feet or on your lap, depending on how you're positioned in terms of your legs. But again here, if you find that you're kind of unbalanced or that you need to adjust something, you can again use a shawl or a sock to get some a cushion on there to balance the hands so that you feel comfortable and stable. In this point of the posture, you're also free to use any other gesture or to place your hands either on your knees or your lap. However, if you want to do it palms up, palms down, any other gesture that you want to use is perfectly fine, absolutely no problem. However, I would say that once you settle down on a posture of your hands and in general of the body, try to stick with it for the whole session, because otherwise if you continue to shift and to fidget around, then you'll never give the body the opportunity to settle down. So it's best to, once you've accomplished a posture that seems comfortable, that you can sustain for a decent amount of time, to stick with it, yeah? And one other thing to say is that none of the points of the posture have to be done with any forceful means, so you don't need to tense. For example, even some people, when they're touching their thumbs, they do it very forcefully. And there's no need to do it. You need to do it as gently as possible, yeah, so that you don't generate any extra tension. Even in muscles as small as the ones on your fingertips, can generate tension. So the points of the posture have to be done with as much relaxation as possible. The next point is referring to the spine, and is perhaps the one most important point on the whole posture. And for the spine, we try to keep an upright position, but loosely. So we're not trying to accomplish a straight back, which is kind of military straight. We're not forcing our back to be straight, and also we're avoiding the opposite extreme, which is just slouching and sinking in the posture. So one good thing to do is that once you're settled on your legs, try to check your own body to see, to the sides, to the front, and to the back. Check the extremes and notice where your back naturally comes back to. And also you can use some cushions underneath in order to give you more balance if you feel that you can be a little bit more steady with the help of a few cushions. However, one important point here is also to notice how the spine goes from the bottom to the top and how it feels. The spine has a natural curvature, so definitely you want to use that natural curvature. You don't need to force it, like I said before. And the next point of the posture refers to the head and the neck, which follow the straight line of the spine going upward. However, here there's a special instruction, which is to tuck in the chin just a little bit, very, very slightly. So here they say to imagine like you're like a puppet, and there's a puppeteer pulling a string from the top of your head, and then you have a string going all the way to your buttocks, and then pulling from there, not forcefully again. And then the chin goes down just a tiny bit in order to bring the gaze downwards, and we'll get to that later. Another point is to keep the arms separate from the body. So the shoulders and the arms should be open. This is because the body, when you have your arms very close to you, the body will tend to generate heat. So having a little bit of separation between your torso and your arms will actually allow the body to have its own natural cooling system to kick in, and then we don't generate as much heat. And when we generate too much heat, we feel too cozy, we feel nice and warm, and it can trigger sleepiness or drowsiness. So it's very important to try to keep balance also in terms of the temperature. Then we go into the next point of the posture, which is referring to the mouth, the tongue. And all this area in general has to be kept as relaxed as possible. However, it is best to keep your lips pursed, and the tip of the tongue, in this case, the special instruction is to keep the tip of the tongue pressed against the upper part of the palate, and where it joins with the upper teeth. So right where the point where your upper teeth, your two front teeth meet with the roof of the mouth, then you can place the tip of the tongue right behind that. And again, without any pressure or tension, but just simply resting the tongue in that position. That will prevent too much salivation, and it will keep the mouth moist when we're breathing. And finally, the last of the points of the posture, particularly in Tibetan Buddhism, it is encouraged that we meditate not with eyes closed, but rather with eyes half open. And to do this is actually very straightforward. There is nothing that you need to do with the eyelids. There's nothing that you need to do in terms of effort for closing or for squinting with the eyelids, but rather simply bring the gaze down 45 degrees. So if you're looking forward, if you have a line of sight which is completely forward, and then you tuck in your chin just a little bit, as we said before, and then just lower the eyes 45 degrees cast down, then at that point the eyelids, the top eyelids, will become immediately hooded, yeah? So half open. And in this posture we can actually maintain a very steady state because we are bringing in some light. We're not focusing on what is outside. We're keeping a very empty and unfocused gaze. However, we still maintain the sight present, just like all the other senses, right? So there is no need to close our eyes, because when we do, it can invite sleepiness or drowsiness, and there is no need to keep our eyes fully open, because it might bring up the other extreme, which is mental excitement. If we see too much movement, if we are focused on the things that are happening outside, then we might get distracted. So basically, in terms of the sitting posture, when we're sitting down on a cushion, the ideal posture would look something like this, which is again starting with the legs crossed, the hands, and then the spine loosely straight. Then we have the head and the neck, which is the neck is tucked in a little bit, and then we have the arms opened up, and then the eyes, the mouth relaxed, and the eyes looking downwards. So that's basically what the posture would look ideally sitting down. But again, you have to find your own balance, you have to find your own comfort, and try to experiment on the posture, how it feels natural and how it feels good to you. Every person is different, the body of each person is different, so you need to try to find your own balance. And of course, sometimes for sitting cross-legged, you'll require some flexibility of the hips, of the muscles of the legs. And for that, physical exercise might be necessary. So don't force yourself into a posture which is not comfortable for you. And for that, now I'll explain the posture sitting down in a chair, which is absolutely fine to do. If you can't sit cross-legged like this, then please take the chair. There's no need to endure any hardships or any pain in order to do meditation. All the opposite, you need to be as comfortable as possible to let the body relax. All right, so basically for the posture sitting down in a chair, it's very important that first of all, you know that most of the points are exactly the same. The main difference, of course, will be the legs. And you want to keep your legs flat on the ground, especially your feet flat on the ground. And if you don't reach the floor, you can use a cushion underneath, or if you feel cold on your feet, then you can put a cushion underneath. But the idea essentially is to keep your legs on a 90-degree angle, so your knees and your legs in this angle, and then basically the rest of the points of the posture are exactly the same. So then you can have the hands like this, and the spine loosely straight. And one thing to have in consideration is that chairs in general are not made for meditation. So if I actually were to sit on the chair as it is intended to, I would start slouching and getting too comfortable in a posture which is not conducive for meditation. So what I do is I bring my body a little bit away from the back of the chair. So I'm not leaning against the chair, but if you actually need back support, then perhaps you can fold up a cushion or a pillow or a towel or whatever you have in hand, and then put it especially on the lower part of the chair. And so then you're getting that back support that you need, but you're not slouching and you're not leaning against the chair. So the chairs are built more for comfort rather than for meditation. And basically the rest of the points of the posture we do exactly the same as the sitting position in the cushion, and simply keep a steady and balanced body and try to relax as much as possible, try to be steady and stable. So that's basically it in terms of the points of the posture in the chair.